So hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's early in the morning as I'm recording this and I'm kind of tired, a bit hungry, so I'm going to get emotional. Of course I am. It's the second last episode of The Walking Dead that we're talking about. Yeah, shit's going to get emotional. Before I start, the link to my Patreon is down below where I do a bunch of reactions. The more extended version of The Walking Dead goes up over there. The Walking Dead reactions are usually about a half hour long over there. I do a bunch of other shows too, like The X-Files, Buffy, Once Upon a Time, Doctor Who. I've recently started up the Winchesters and it just feels so good. So good to have, I don't know, it feels like a little bit of nostalgia back. I've talked at length about my obsession with Supernatural, so anyway. The link to that's down below. If you haven't yet checked it out, I got to chat with Cooper Andrews, who plays Jerry in The Walking Dead recently. I know it's a longer video. It's 2 hours long. The uncut video is about 2.5 hours, just over 2.5 hours long. So I did try to trim it down a bit, and you know, I didn't do very well. It's 2 hours long, but it's a great chat. He's such a cool dude to talk to. Super sweet, super funny. So if you are up to date on The Walking Dead, if you've watched up to episode 23, then you're good to watch that. It won't be spoilery for you. So just check that out if you haven't. Twitter, Instagram, all my stuff is linked down below. Let's talk. It's so weird that this is the last like little breakdown or chat that I do regarding an episode that isn't the last ever one. I know I joke a lot and I'm like, oh, I'm not good at goodbyes. I'm not. I'm really not. I've been getting a lot of DMs from people. Been getting a lot of tweets from people, a lot of comments from people being like, oh my god, I'm going to miss you. And that's both very sweet and also kind of terrifying. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not dying that I know of. So I'm still going to be doing videos. I'm still going to be doing uploads. I'm hoping to get around and do some more cast interviews. I'm going to be doing the Negan and Maggie spin-off reactions, the Daryl spin-off reactions, and Fear and If Tales is picked up for a second season. So I'll still be doing things here. I'm not going to become inactive, don't worry. But it's very odd, a bunch of people saying goodbye to me, and it's panicky, you know. It helps induce the panic. I don't need that. I got enough of that going on. But yeah, I've gotten an awful lot of really sweet messages from you guys regarding the end of the show, and it's so fucking weird that it's coming to an end. If you haven't already checked out, I did a whole playlist of Walking Dead. Well, why can't I remember the name of it? Our TWD stories. I did a bunch of videos where I did a different topic every week, talking about the show, talking about your favourite episodes, your favourite characters, your favourite moments, whatever, convention memories. And people from all over the world sent in text posts, pictures, images, videos. And it was such a collaborative effort, and it was so heartwarming and gut-wrenching to hear people's different experiences with the show. And it really did drive home the point that this show, yeah, it's a, you know, hugely successful, long-running TV show, but at the same time, it means an awful lot more to that than that to a lot of people. So again, I'll link that playlist down below if you haven't checked out those videos. If you want to hear some fan stories about the show, viewers talking about stuff they loved and moments that were super important to them. Yeah, that, I don't know, starting that made it all so very real, and then getting to talk to Cooper, talking about the end of the show, and I got to talk to Carrie a few weeks ago, and hearing everyone's stories about like wrapping up and stuff, it's sad. But let's go and talk about episode 23. First of all, that intro I have absolutely adored. I have adored watching the montages at the start of every episode, this block of the season in part C. That voiceover, the narration, the scenes that we were getting, it was absolutely beautiful. It was beautiful, and it was such a smart way to begin for the end. So I've loved that. But this intro was probably one of my favourites. You know, just what was said, and then seeing Judith pick up the katana, the Python gun. I love callbacks, and I've really loved watching the younger cast, particularly with Judith and RJ, but Judith more so because we've actually seen her take on the role of, okay, I am my parents' kid. What am I going to do with that? What does that mean for me? So watching her grow throughout the show, it's been fucking fascinating. I mean, she was conceived in the apocalypse, grew up in the apocalypse. She's still here. So it's just, she's been a really interesting one to watch, and it's been beautiful watching her, and especially watching her struggle too, because we did see that a bit with her older brother. We saw that with Coral back when he was still alive and fucking kicking. But seeing her pack up all the things and then pass the hat on to RJ, ooh, that hat has made the rounds. it went from Rick to Carl to Judith now to RJ, and it's just, again, it's like visual symbolism of like the passing of the torch, and it's just nuts. It's I wonder if Rick Grimes had known back when he put that hat on the legacy it would hold. And if he had, would he have picked a cooler looking hat? Because I'm not a big fan of the suede or whatever the fuck material that's made from. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, that moment between her and RJ at the start of the episode was gorgeous. Really was. I'm skimming through the episode here as I watch it so I can touch on as many points as I possibly can. Also, yeah, I'm wearing a thermal vest under this because it is ball tingling freezing here today. It's like 3 degrees. Very fucking cold. I do feel like Alpha with my multiple layers and I'm trying to cover it, but she keeps popping out, so it is what it is. Anyway, the moment between Negan and Maggie at the back of the van or the truck, the car, whatever the fuck was going on there. Listen, I've loved watching them. I've loved the back and forth. It does get a little bit repetitive, which is why I'm both intrigued and a bit cautious about their show. They have been at odds their entire time on the show. From the minute they both began to coexist, we've known. And then you have Glenda and you have the lineup, you have everything he's done afterwards. She's never going to forgive him. Yes, I know. He's the type of character that every time you say you enjoy watching them on screen, it's like you got to back it up instantly with no, the growth does not undo anything that he did. You can still hold him accountable for all the shit that he's done in the past. But he has grown, he has changed. And I think it's been fun watching that. Watching where he fits and how he fits into whatever community he so happens to find himself in. Watching people deal with having to coexist with him, even though, like, the majority of people aren't happy with it. But I do feel a lot of the characters have accepted in a way. Yeah, so, like, between him and Maggie, I don't know how much more they can possibly do. We know she hates him. We know he doesn't particularly like her. So it makes me interested in the spin-off, because I don't know what the fuck. Are they just going to continue that kind of arc into their spin-off show? Where they're going to be like, I hate you, but we need to work together, and then next chance they're just like leaving each other to die. Is that going to be what it is? Or, I don't know. I'm just going to say it, okay? I think bringing Judith was a big mistake. I'm all for, like, you have to teach your kids the ways of the world. You have to teach them, and there comes a point where teaching, like, isn't necessarily enough. You have to show them. You need to you gotta let them spread their wings and experience stuff, right? But they weren't entirely sure what they were walking into. They couldn't predict the outcome of what was going to happen. And they should have, I mean, all the other kids, they were put on a bus or something, right? They were taken somewhere else. She should have been with the other kids. Outside of the fact, when it comes to the other kids, I feel like she's light years ahead of them in maturity. She has seen more, experienced more, and she's been trusted more with a lot more independence. And they've moved away from treating her like a kid in ways. But she could have looked after the other group of kids. She would have been that voice of reason to the other kids. Outside of that fact, you shouldn't have brought her on. You shouldn't have brought her with you. This was way too big of a deal to bring her along. And I get the speech she gave about her parents, about whatever. They shouldn't have brought her. I think it was stupid, and look at what it resulted in. Now, that wasn't their fault. Yeah, Pam went a bit fucking psychotic, and Judith shoved Maggie out of the way. So it was a number of different things leading up to that moment. There was a number of different factors that caused it, but she shouldn't have been there to begin with. I've said it in a few different videos at this point now. I'm loving any scene that Ezekiel and Negan has together. Seeing him get that pushback. Seeing Negan get that pushback from Ezekiel, where Ezekiel's like, I still haven't forgotten what you've done, whatever. It's been fascinating to see. And then seeing Zeke, the moment where he walked out into the line of fire, put his hands up, and he was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing just yet. That split decision, I've said it, it really does. It captured who Zeke is as a person. Speaking is tough. It captured who he is as a person, as a leader, what kind of values he has, and then watching people follow suit, follow him. Such one of the most powerful moments probably in Walking Dead history. I adored it. But, where the two of them are sitting down together and Negan's talking to him and asks, I never really asked, or I never thanked you or asked you why you did it or whatever. Seeing them have that moment of, we don't like each other, we don't agree with each other. But there was like this tenderness in this moment. And then where Negan said, I didn't do it for me, I did it for my kid because I wanted to leave behind a better memory of me than the stories that everyone tells. He's always been a self-aware kind of person, but seeing him gain this new perspective of, yeah, everyone hates me. I know that, and everyone here is better than me. I know that. And especially after like Ezekiel doing what he did, I think it really drove home to Negan that at the end of the day, when everything goes tits up and things are about to end, all we are is stories. All we have is what people say about us. So him wanting to leave behind that legacy of, if he had died in that moment, when he told your man that it was just him that was responsible for all of this and he was willing to die, hoping it would help or save our group, and hoping that at least then his kid would grow up with stories told about him that weren't all just the bad stuff. So I think that was a really interesting moment, and him outwardly saying like, yeah, I know you guys are all better than me. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of unexpected moments from Negan, but that was definitely one. And the fact that Maggie was there listening in as well, she had, you see her, I think the camera like pans in on her and she kind of looks up, felt like a real moment of change, both for him as a character and for the two of them, even though I don't think he was aware that Maggie was listening. But yeah, it felt like a turning point. I don't think that Judith is going to die. We're bouncing around the place, I know. The end of the episode, her getting shot, gorgeous visuals, seeing how everybody just completely changed their plans, their motives, everything in that split second was like, okay, the number one thing now is getting her out of here. Daryl running through the streets with her in his arms, just people clearing a way for them. And then Daryl sneaks into like a side street. He gets into a side street, and the last thing that Judith sees, she looks back and she sees everybody fighting for her. And then it's just covered by walkers. It looks like they're overrun by walkers. It's what Team Family is all about. Our group that we were introduced with, that we've watched grow and change, people come, people go. Seeing them come together for that one cause, and it was just an unspoken thing. We all just decided, yeah, we got to get her out of here. We got to get her to safety. I don't think she's going to die, though. I don't. Especially because you had, with her character, there was a lot of mirroring with Coral as well. A lot of things that happened to him has happened to her. I don't see them killing off another Grimes kid. The backlash for Coral when he was killed was monumental and huge. I don't think they'll do that again with her, especially because if you want there to be some kind of idea of a happy ending, or you want people to think that, well, there might be a future for the group, even if we don't see it because the show is ending, I would presume she'd grow up and become a leader. She'd grow up with everything that she has learned just by absorbing what's around her. You know, things that her dad said, that her mom said, that the group around her said, that Daryl has said. She has the, not luxury, I can't think of the word, but she has the, what is the fucking word? She can take all their teachings and it would make a great fucking leader, I think. As well as she's watched all these villains come and go and where they failed and where their downfalls were too. So she'd be a kick-ass leader. She really would. Her and RJ, she could teach RJ everything that she's learned, and the two of them together could, like, I reckon they would go for at least 5 seasons of their own show. Mercer as well, it's been fascinating watching how he has changed from who we thought he was when we were first introduced to him to now who he is. Like, seeing him on the walkie with Princess and seeing him be concerned for her and be worried for her, and when she said like, well, we're bringing people your way, is that alright? And he's like, yeah. I've loved watching him, I really have. He was a seemingly like, you know, made of stone kind of hard ass that just did what was needed to be done, but he's so soft and smart underneath all of that exterior that he puts up, that he knows, like armour, he knows you gotta act a certain way when you're around certain people, like Pam or the other goddamn stormtroopers. But see, you see it a lot when Princess is around, or when he was around his sister. You see a lot of that other side of him come out, and I've loved watching him. He's probably one of my favourite modern or current characters that have entered the show. But yeah, Pam's a weird one. I don't know, I feel like I didn't really think of it this way, but Cooper, in the chat video that I do with Cooper, he talks about like the different villains that we've seen and the different strong points and techniques, or like ways they went about doing their evil business. That Negan was more of like a facade, putting on this big larger than life character. Alpha believed the shit that she said, like she really believed in what she was fighting for. And then Pam is more of a corrupt politician, that she's more like, when shit hit the fan, her first mode to revert to was put soldiers outside my door, protect my house and the surrounding areas. She's got no fucking guts. You know, she doesn't care about the people. She really doesn't. She does everything that she can to benefit herself and like the upper echelon, her son, her family. And it does really have corrupt politician vibes. But her shooting Judith and then seeing the shock on her face. And it's like you open fired in a small area on a bunch of people and you're shot. I guess it's because it's Judith's a kid and she didn't mean to. Or seeing the fact that a child would push somebody out of the way to take a bullet for them really hit home with Pam, like, oh, these people really, they're a unit. They love each other. Oh, fuck. Also, I just shot a kid. Oh, God. But yeah, but seeing her have that moment where she was like cleaning the blood off her face and she looked all shell-shocked, it's like she has been someone who's been so heavily sheltered throughout all of this because of where they live and how they've lived through the apocalypse. That seeing her deal now with real-life consequences that we've already seen. We've already seen what it's like out there. We've done 11 seasons of it. And this is her first real brush with anything like that and she's just not able to handle it. Yeah, also, we have to talk about the RV scene. "You are so loved" was one of the most beautiful lines we've gotten from Aaron, I think, ever. And the three of them inside that little, small little enclosed area, getting down and doing what they gotta do, chopping off her arm. It was gorgeous, it really was. It was small, it was intimate, it was stressful. You could feel the tension. You could feel the pain coming from Aaron when, you know, he realised that they had to do it. Same with Jerry. You see Jerry dip away and get his sword ready and it's just... their will to survive is so strong. One minor inconvenience and I have like a panic attack, no joke. Here they are inside an RV and you see her when she puts the thing into her mouth, I think it's like a belt to bite down on. There she's just like, right, okay, we gotta do this, cut my arm off. They're so fucking strong. Their will to live is so astronomically there. Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about Jerry. Gotta say, the whole piece of cobbler scene where he decides to go and look for Elijah, for Lydia, I don't know. We haven't seen the finale yet, so he could have gone outside the RV and tried to move the herd, try to disperse them a little bit and lead them off in different directions away from the RV. But Elisha could have done the same thing though, right? He could have circled around the RV. I know he got ripped away by the herd. Not like killed, but like he got carried away by the herd. He could have just broken off by himself, circled around the RV and come back around. So, I don't know. It could have been avoided, but listen, it was a tense situation for everyone. And yeah, a lot of people were making the point about how the arm that she was bitten on was the one that she was trying to get the frozen walker to bite her on. So like that whole foreshadowing back then, but we didn't know, and then coming back around to it and revisiting it, but she actually gets bitten this time. And both times love was involved with the outcome. It's the first time it was Carol that stopped her. But it was love that stopped her from being bitten the first time, and this time it was love that caused her to be bit. She was reaching for Elijah. She didn't want to let go of him. So, it's just so bittersweet. It was fun getting to see the variants as well. Getting to see the guys that climb up onto the tower and cause a little bit of anarchy. I'm still not over that dumb motherfucker who's in his dying moments accidentally opened the gate to the Commonwealth. Like, come on. They probably would have gotten in eventually because these guys have speed and style. They can climb walls now. So... but opening the door, really. Overall, really, really loved this episode. I thought it was the perfect setup to the finale. It really fucking was. It had absolutely everything. It had gut-wrenching moments. It had bites, shots, stressful, you know, clench your fucking fist so tight you leave fingernail marks in your palms. It had everything. What's funny is my dad, he's the one who got me into the show. He forced me to watch it back when I started, so 2016, 2015, and he fell off recently, so he hasn't watched it in a while. And he came to me recently and he was like, listen, I think he was at the start of season 10. He was like, I gotta catch up. I want to be caught up by the time the final episode airs. I want to be a part of it. So I had to sit down with him and we had to like do the math to figure out how many episodes he had to watch per night to be up to date. And he just finished last night. He watched this episode 23 last night. Came rushing up, burst into me to tell me, hey, I just finished episode 23. What the fuck? And even he agreed it was one of the best episodes all season. So yeah, that's just my little chat about this and about what I think so far. I don't know what's going to happen in the finale. I really don't. I see a lot of people doing predictions, a lot of people doing what they hope to see and stuff. And I think I used to do prediction videos, but I like to just take the stance now of more. Of course, there's things I'd like to see. Like, I'd love to see Rick and Michonne come back. Do I think we're going to get both of them back? No, I don't. We'd be lucky if one of them comes back for the finale. But I do feel like it will be an incomplete finale without them. I don't really do prediction videos anymore. I do more chats, you know, because I feel like once you put it out into the world, what you want to see, what you hope to see, I just don't like putting I don't know. I don't like putting weight into things like that because I'm like, well, it'll be what it'll be, and I'll make my opinions afterwards. But this is such a big episode. It's the last episode ever. And every time you say that, you get the people going, there's going to be spin-offs. And it's like, yeah, spin-offs. Not The Walking Dead. We might have some familiar faces and characters that we love, but the main show, the reason we're all here in this fandom, part of this franchise, is because of the main show. So the fact it's coming to an end, there's so many different roads they could take. There's so many different things they could do. There's just hundreds of possibilities. But yeah, I'd like to see Rick and Michonne back. I don't think we're going to get that, but I think it'll be lacking if they're not in it. They could find a way around that by doing either cutaway scenes or flashback scenes or dream sequences like we've seen before. And I did love the dream sequences, especially in Rick's last episode. But I feel like, no, we have to have them back for the last episode. Even if they leave, then obviously they have to. It's the last episode. A lot of people are saying we never found out what happened, Dog. True. He just galloped off into the unknown. We haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know how the fuck Daryl's going to end up in France. Daryl's spin-off show's taking place in France. And I'm like, my guy, I haven't seen him so much as look at a baguette or give a little wee-wee. So I don't know how he ends up in France. Was the pull just there and he decided he needed a vacation and he was just drawn there? Kidnapped, shoved in the back of a ferry? Would a ferry make it from America to France, or am I thinking of like a cruise ship? I am happy we're getting a show that's somewhere outside of the fucking States. I've said it for so long with The Walking Dead. So much of what we see is in America. It's in like these big cities or these well-known places, and it's all very much contained within there, which I do get to an extent. If you're trying to world build in the apocalypse, you're only going to know what's going on around you and your immediate surroundings. So I do get that. But it's nice. I'm excited that we're going to travel outside of America for some of the storyline. We're going to get to see bits of France. I wonder when we find out what else is going on in Europe. It's going to be... That concept is fascinating. How he gets there. I'm like... Yeah, he'd never willingly leave his group. I don't think he would ever willingly book a one-way flight, so to speak. So I don't know. I don't know how the fuck they're going to make that work. Same for Maggie and Negan. What an unlikely duo. And they end up in New York, of all places. So I just... But the next one is it. It's the very last episode ever. The more extended version is going to be going up on Patreon, like I said. I'm excited. I'm actually not that nervous. I thought I was going to be like, oh man, it's going to be it's going to be one hell of a show to try and round up and finish. But the way they've done it over the last few episodes, I'm like, okay. No, okay, this is doable. And I guess for a lot of the characters, it isn't like, a goodbye. It is just a see you later. Because a lot of the characters are bouncing over to sister shows or spin-offs. Yeah, I do think it was still a huge mistake that they announced the spin-offs before the end of the show. Because now everyone knows what to expect. But I guess it would have just been too hard with them trying to figure out how they were going to do filming and get around filming when... if Lauren Cohen and Jeffrey had been seen in New York City filming in their Walking Dead get-up, someone took a picture, posted it to Twitter, and then it was suddenly like, why are they in New York? You know what I mean? So I understand, I guess, why they would have announced it, but they should have kept it till after the show. I stand by that. But yeah, outside of Daryl, Negan, Maggie, Rick and Michonne, we don't know who else survives. We don't know where they go or what happens to them. So for everyone else, it's fair game and it's scary. And I do think we're going to get character deaths because we haven't had any major... I mean, I know we had Sebastian and we had Lance, but we haven't had our group major death in a while. A major death from our group. I thought we were going to get it with Eugene, but it doesn't seem that way anymore. But Father Gabriel, Rosita, Zeke and Jerry. Those are 4 that I have been watching very intently over the last few episodes, part C of the season. I don't have a good feeling about any of them. I feel like any of them could go at any point. I don't think Lydia's going to die because she got her arm cut off. So I reckon she'll survive that. She'll be okay. Jerry, I'm like, we had the piece of cobbler scene, then he disappeared out into the unknown. Same goes for Zeke. I feel like he's had so many near misses, and then you had that speech that he gave where he felt like he was living on borrowed time. It could have been foreshadowing, but at the same time, yeah, he has had so many near misses that how many more can he have? If there was to be a next time, I don't think it would be a near miss. Rosita as well, I've been really concerned about. So, I don't know. I guess we will know in the next few days, and I'm very excited. I've had a lot of people saying to me over the last few days, I've had a lot of people asking me, DMing me and stuff, saying, are you going to the event in LA? I'm not, and yes, I wish I was. I didn't know anything about it. I don't know, is it a ticketed event? Is it a invite kind of deal? I don't know. Yeah, I would have loved to have gone, but yeah, I'll be experiencing the feelings with you guys. I'm probably going to be online all day Monday, watching everyone's reactions, reading everyone's thoughts and theories and wrap-ups, and yeah, I'll be doing another whole breakdown of the finale when I'm done. Can't wait to talk about it with you guys. Can't wait to finally see it and see our show be wrapped up. I'm probably going to be doing I'll be doing another video looking back on my time with the show and everything I've done as a result of the show, because I forget half the shit I've done because of this show, to be honest. So I might be putting up another form of a goodbye video, or just sharing all my happiest moments. And I just know I'm going to be crying like a fucking baby in editing that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you Monday for the last ever episode of The Walking Dead.